Hello, everyone, and welcome to our anticipated releases of February 2019. My name is Mike.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Travis.
Yeah, and we're the trio that's back again. There's a lot of cool games coming out this month. Before I even talk about the games, I think as a Nintendo channel, it's important that we also mention DLC-wise, this is the month Piranha Plant's coming out. I think that's the biggest news of all. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
If you pre-ordered him, I'm pretty sure. I think you might have to wait a little longer if you didn't get him with the Fighter Pass or whatever.
Well, I'm pretty sure the three of us pre-ordered him, right?
Oh, I pre-ordered him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We're going to be playing him. So expect 20-part series of us just playing Piranha Plants on our channel.
Only Piranha Plant matches.
Yeah, that's the new rule that we're going to be doing. So be excited for that.
And we're going to set assist trophies to only have chain chomps.
Very true. Oh, dude, that would be fun.
That's what I'm saying. Really, like mouths going back and these are brilliant ideas. Keep the brilliant ideas moving.
Yeah, we're
guys.
gonna mark this down. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that's important, and that's probably the only Nintendo news we're gonna be hearing today, except one third-party game, and that's about it. So let's get to the real stuff. Who wants to go first?
Me.
All right, then Travis. I'm just kidding. Go Nick.
Oh man, that'd be good. All right, not gonna jump around. My first one is gonna be. Oh man, I just forgot the name of it out the top of my head.
There we go. We're professional here.
Hey, okay, it's Trials Rising. That's what I was going to say. The reason is, this is the one Switch game that Mike was talking about that's third party. It's an Ubisoft game. When looking at the trailer, it doesn't seem it seems like a no bullshit kind of Trials game. If you remember on the channel, one of the games that we played kind of earlier on, maybe I think it was like a couple years ago, we played it with Scooter. It was Trials Rising. Not Trials Rising, sorry, Trials Fusion, and I heard that game got mixed reviews. I kind of was confused why it got mixed reviews, because it kind of seemed like a Trials game. I don't know the Trials series in depth to go in to say, like, okay, this is definitely the Trials game and this is not a Trials game. But it seems to be, we say it a lot, but I get the feeling that it's going back to, like, the normal Trials gameplay that people are wanting out of a Trials game. Again, it's what you'd expect. Platforming, it has crazy collisions, it has a lot of wipeouts. The main difference that I saw with this one was that they're using a lot of real-world kind of obstacles to dodge. Like, one of the things is a fan that's spinning that you have to time your jump to get through. Another one was, as you're going by, a wrecking ball comes in another plane to try to hit you off, which was kind of fun. And I kind of like that aspect of just. I mean, it's always been in the real world, but now they're putting more hazards in a different way that I'm saying. And so I know a lot of people are excited about this game. I'm excited about this game, actually, and it's one of the main games that's coming out for Nintendo, besides indie titles that are coming to the Switch that have been coming for a while. So I would say this is probably one of the bigger releases coming to the Switch in February.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely going to be getting it. I think, I think what you said is the reason people are excited about it, because like the first Trials games were basically exclusively, you going through factory and dodging real life obstacles like exploding barrels, like you said, fans and things like that. And then in the last one, it kind of got a little over the top with, you like flying through the sky and stuff. And I think that probably turned a lot of people off, thinking like, this franchise got a little too big for what it was meant to be, Like,
yeah.
It's fun if you have like a small, fun, like indie type, because that's what it started out as an indie game. It started out as a Flash game, actually. So it had really humble beginnings. So eventually, I think you get so big that you kind of lose that personality with it. So I think people are hoping this one is kind of going to bring that personality back. And like you said, I'm excited that it's coming out for the Switch. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the first Trials game that came out for Switch, right? Or any Nintendo console.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. So that'll be exciting.
Which is pretty cool, if you have to ask me. Yeah. But yeah, nothing too much about it.
Yeah, man, I'll be playing as long as I can be the cat riding the unicorn.
Oh, God, Travis.
You know what? Hey, people have goals. People have characters they want to play as.
Yeah. Slide on your ass the whole game.
Go ahead, play the broken character, Travis. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. That's fair.
I would use him if he was, like, as bad as the Jackrabbit or whatever that thing was called. Rabbit?
Oh,
Rabbit?
God.
I don't know.
I know you're
I don't know. I just like the bicycle that was really hard to control that you always had. The wipeouts are my favorite part.
There was so many weird ones. The bicycle. That whole game was just odd.
I loved
like
watching him pedal so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Travis and Mike, who wants to go next?
I'll go next because I'm going to keep mine short. Just because, I don't know, I don't feel like talking to you guys. So.
Damn, savage.
I want to talk about Metro Exodus. I've dabbled with these games a little bit. They're not my favorite. I don't want to sound like a racist. The Russian accents were really hard for me to understand at points. And I think, it was an environment that didn't fit me as well. You like how I throw the Russian part out before the environment part? Anyway, it was an environment that really suited me. It was a lot of like exploring underground areas. It was post-apocalyptic. The thing is, as much as I didn't feel like it was for me, I can totally see why this is such like a classic franchise for the Xbox and PlayStation. The gameplay in it is totally survival based. So you have a limited amount of ammo. You have, sort of strenuous relationship with the people around you, and it's all about trying to survive in a situation where the world is essentially over. And it's called Metro because a lot of it is exploring these underground, areas where trains run through and all of that. It's really intense. I call it a horror game. You can definitely tell there's inspiration from games like Resident Evil in the sense that, you're exploring this dark area with limited resources and just trying to barely scrape by. There are plenty of options to tackle the obstacles you face, whether it's through stealth. It's primarily meant to be played in a stealthy way, but you can also go in guns blazing, though it's not recommended. It definitely falls in that vein of games, and so if that's your style, I think it's well worth checking out. That's my style of game. It's just the setting didn't really suit me. But again, it's one of those franchises that I have so much respect for. This one looks like they're really blowing it up. It definitely seems like a fun open world type of game. It feels really expansive with the stuff that's coming out, and it feels like it's definitely a franchise that a lot of love goes into. And so I would highly recommend it. If you've played Metro games in the past, you're probably going to be picking this one up. But if you haven't, it seems like a good one to sort of introduce yourself to this style of game. It's high-paced, it's action, it's difficult, which I think is a nice change of pace. And I think it's worth it. So that's Metro.
And definitely if you're gamers like us who have a very big emphasis on story and loving story in games, these are one of the people who are still dedicated to trying to give you that story in a big game like this. So hey, go support people trying to give us a story instead of online shit all the time. As much fun as online is, you kind of have to have the variety with the single player, in my mind.
Yeah,
so,
well, and that's the cool thing is this game kind of does what Breath of the Wild does in a way, even though it's a weird comparison, in the sense that it doesn't just tell the story through cutscenes. It builds the environment through what you're seeing. The story's not told to you. It's just shown to you, which I think is so much better.
Yeah. Which is cool. I agree. Yo, Travis.
Okay.
What you got for us?
Okay, so one of the games I got for you is Jump Force, which was not actually... Mojo, shut up. It's not actually about Star Wars like I was hoping when I just saw the title. But it's about anime, which is another one of, the fun, nerdy aspects of life. So I don't know too many. I'm very familiar with Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and that's phenomenal. Highly recommend watching those. But I have watched Naruto, so it's really cool because it's kind of like the Smash Bros of the anime world, where it's just all of your favorites getting together and beating each other senseless. So what I was able to see from the gameplay was you build a team of 3, and then you can kind of swap between them as you want, and then it's just one health bar. And it's a fighter, There's not too much like variety in the fighter world, but it did look pretty cool. You have like a bunch of different ultimates. It was flashy, and because Dragon Ball Z is involved, lots of explosions if you choose to go their route, which I probably would if I picked this game up, because explosions.
Now, what I was going to say when it comes down to this game, I would never... First of all, I wouldn't expect to have a crossover anime game like this, which is actually kind of fun that I would think to play. The gameplay, to me, for people who know these games, if not, this is going to mean nothing to you, but reminds me of Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm and a game that I played for Wii with a friend of mine called Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or something like that. It is more of like an arena-like setting. So it has arena aspects of it, but it's trying to do more of a 3D battling combat to give a more realistic simulation of what it would be like in that fight. Because it wouldn't be just like a 2D fight, especially when you have... you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that this game and a crossover, if you told me that there was going to be a game where I could also play as like Yugi Moto from Yu-Gi-Oh! Facing Naruto, I'd be like, you're dumb, but it's a thing. Right. It's actually a thing. That's more of why I'm surprised about it, because I'm just surprised that this actually happened. And it's one of the games that got announced at E3 that I'm still relatively excited for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's funny too, because Yugi wasn't in the first one, but there's a game called J-Star's Victory Versus, I used to own it. I lost it, and it makes me sad. But it's the same vein where it's all these anime characters coming together. It's the same arena style, but in that game, it was 3v3, and so, like, you wouldn't just have one character fighting one character. All three would be in the arena at the same time. So it'd be, like, 6 people fighting each other in the same vein that, like, Dissidia is. And so, you know, I feel like a lot of people didn't hear about that game. Jump Force is kind of the one that really, you know, took the reins and everyone's talking about. The same way that Nier Automata, when that came out, everyone talked about it and no one ever knew about the prequel for it. But the first game was really fun. And so, as weird as the concept sounds, they nailed the first one. And so, I think it's safe to assume that this second version is going to be really good as well, just because they know what they're doing when they're making these anime fighting games. And I think it's weird. Every anime fighting game I always see is an arena game. I don't know why that is, but I guess that's the style.
The one thing that I'm curious on too is how they're going to. First of all, I don't know if they had a story mode before, but if they do bring in like an actual adventure mode or something into the game, it's what I'm thinking is that every different character, like if you look at the rules of the Dragon Ball universe, the Naruto universe, the One Piece universe, they all kind of go by different rules and like what trumps what's stronger than what, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're going to make an attempt at saying, we're going to take all those crazy convoluted plots that you love out of your own game or your own franchise and try to combine them and twist them into one. Yeah. I would love to see an attempt, but it's going to be hard because I don't think there would be a really good way. But to start things off, was there an adventure mode, like any single player, or was it just all gameplay?
In the first game, I don't think there was an adventure mode. If there was, I never played it. I think it was just gameplay. If they did have a story, it'd probably be what every single game like this does, where all your characters just get absorbed into a new world, you know, and so the rules just, you know, go for the new world that you're in, because that's what Dissidia did, you know. It pulls all the different Final Fantasy characters and puts them in a brand new world. In a way, that's kind of what Smash Bros. Did in its Subspace Emissary, you know. I know sometimes you'd go from character to character, but for the most part, it was in an original world, and so I think that's how they get around that, you know, is just saying, we're going to go into a new world, everyone's new here, we're going to play by new rules now, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I understand.
I hope they do the Kingdom Hearts route, and that just, they all have their own world, and they all have to just, you know, go at it.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That'd actually be dope. I would love that. Have a little bit of a hub world in that way. That'd be awesome. Anyway, February 22nd is the day that Anthem is going to be coming out to PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And there's a lot that has been anticipated when it comes down to this game. I remember in one of our very, I think, like single-digit podcasts, I remember talking about it with Pat and Jake and about how much it looked really cool. It's died since then. I am kind of looking forward to it because it's a BioWare game and they usually have a good track record when it comes to making games. But it's like an open world. I believe it's a live service, and they're trying to lessen on the story aspect to maximize more on gameplay, which not my personal taste, but again, that's what they want to go for. But it's a giant, kind of an open world game, shooter aspects. The first thing that you kind of see is a guy that's just like rocketing through a beautiful, gorgeous landscape, and then he like dives into water and then like jumps back out and like he's shooting things with rockets. In terms of if you want to get an action experience and freaking feel like Tony Stark, this is the game to go for, and it looks fantastic for doing so. The caveat, or the thing that you got to watch out for, is it's published by Electronic Arts. I don't want to focus on how much that I don't like them, but they have a track record, and that track record doesn't speak very highly of them, especially when it's come down to the Star Wars games. So I'm very curious about how they're taking what I kind of say like is basically what I would expect a single-player story-driven game when I first saw it. What they're gonna do with that to try to bring in like skins or DLC, and I'm wondering how much of the game you're gonna get like with the initial cost or whatnot. I don't know. I'm on the edge about it because like it's a BioWare game, but it's EA. Like I don't know. You're kind of being torn in two, and when it comes down to Anthem. But this is probably going to be one of the biggest releases. I've heard a lot of different opinions when it's come down to it. Like in terms of the feel, the action that you get out of it. Everybody like in terms of the people who are in the beta. Like, they're saying it's fantastic, it's amazing, but at the same time, they have, like, huge problem with loading screens, even though loading screens in the trailers didn't even look like it was an issue. So, I'm guessing that this world is, obviously it's massive, but if it's going to have very long loading screens, hopefully it doesn't become infamous like Sonic 06 loading screens. So, there's a lot of good that you kind of got to accept with the bad in there, but overall, it's turning out from what I'm gathering the information in and from reading the reviews of people who are doing the beta, it's looking like a good cohesive experience so far. So that's good signs for this game moving forward.
Yeah, but I don't mind loading screens if they can be long as you're loading in like a good hour of content. Sonic 06 problem was that it would take like a 2-minute loading screen, and then 5 seconds later you're back in the loading screen. As far as this game goes, I'm probably on the negative side. I didn't like Destiny. I have a feeling this game is not going to be well received, except from that like quote unquote hardcore gamer crowd, that like loves these online intense showing off how great I am kind of gamer.
Wants to be flashy, wants to show off the coolest skin and everything.
Right, I think that's who this game is really going to appeal to, but I don't know, it just, because that seems like what it's trying to appeal to, and I don't know, that's just not my style of game. If you like Destiny, you're going to like this game, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those games that, again, as much as I want to stress this, it's a game that appeals to somebody who goes into a game for like the thrill and the action that a game like this would give. It's not for a person who, again, they're de-emphasizing story when it comes down to this game. So it's more focused on, if I want to know the sensation of being Iron Man, that's what I want to play this game to do.
Right.
If I don't care about that, if I want to try to get a good narrative-driven game, I wouldn't go for it, because it doesn't seem like that's what they're emphasizing. They're emphasizing the badass feeling of being Iron Man, basically.
Pretty much.
I can't stress that enough, because that's what this game is. It's not supposed to, at least from, again, this is from what I'm gathering from people who are in the beta. It's not for people who, again, for I guess, like, I don't want to say just crowds like us, but I mean, because we're more narrative driven and we love a good story when it comes down to it. It's not for people. It's for the hardcore gamer crowd. And that's what I think is good. I think it's going to be a great game to see people stream as well, because I'm sure this game is going to get a lot of followers for it. But we'll see. There's a lot that can go into this game. Sorry, I talked about that for way too long, but it is probably going to be one of the biggest releases, and it's been getting a lot of news coverage. So
for sure,
I can understand it.
Well,
that's all I want to say about it.
All right, well, I'll do my last one. This one is not going to be as big of a release, but it's going to be a funny release, and that's Crackdown 3. It's coming out February 15th. This game is, I compare it to games like Saints Row, where you basically just go in and you screw around, and that's the entire game. This game is advertising itself as a campaign where you can just destroy anything you want to destroy. And I think that's the beauty of this game, is the environment is so fun to play with, in a way kind of like Just Causes. But, this one really emphasizes the destruction. It's a very futuristic city. The environment that you're around is very beautiful. It's tall buildings like skyscrapers. The nighttime setting and the lights in it all look absolutely incredible. You're armed to the teeth with all kinds of different guns and explosive and things like that. It's set on an island filled with psychopaths and like gangsters and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of like different, I don't know how to describe it. There's just so much going on in the game, and none of it is normal, I guess, right? They're either throwing gangs at you, they're throwing psychopaths at you, they're throwing all kinds of different things at you, but none of it is just normal people. And so no matter what situation you come across in, it's going to be wacky and outlandish. And that's exactly what this game is going for. The original Crackdown, I don't think was this extreme, but you can definitely tell this game found its niche audience on just being insane. And I think that's exactly what this game is going for. That's why at this point the game has a campaign, but it really doesn't even talk about it. It's so focused on the sandbox aspect of it, where you just roam around and screw around in the city. Because there is a story to it. There's an organization called Terra Nova Worldwide, and you're a part of the agency, and it's kind of a back and forth where you're trying to stop the other organization. So there is, a campaign there, and so I don't want people to worry that there's no story there. My gut tells me the story is really not going to have a lot of effort put into it, because they're so focused on gameplay. Kind of what Nick just talked about with Anthem, but this is in a different vein because this is a single-player experience, though there is multiplayer. I'll get to that in a second. But, it's emphasizing blowing stuff up, not really, a deep story with it. So, just something to think about.
I was just gonna point out that the lighting looks fantastic in the game. The tank looks really fun, and if you want to talk about the outlandish whimsicality that this game has, you're basically running around throwing things that are twice your size at things, but you're also carrying a gun with a rubber duck on it. So that's what this game kind of is showing to me, that it really does go for that whimsicality of just. Again, giving you the sandbox and doing what you want. Sorry I kind of cut you off there, Mike, but I wanted to note on that, because when I saw the rubber duck, I was like, yo, that's dope.
Oh, for sure. And well, that's the cool thing too, is like the colors pop, like you said with the lights. Like the city has so much life, because that's what the game is supposed to be like. You know, it's supposed to be this eccentric game, and it does that. Every building has like bright neon purple and pink and light blue, and you know, one of the guns he has, this bazooka, has like bright neon green lights on it. So, you know, they really do try to emphasize that. So, you know, that's totally true. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention with it too is the co-op aspect. You can do the whole story co-op. So if you don't want to blow things up alone, you can bring a buddy along and do the same thing in that city.
Oh God.
So that would be interesting to do. And then there is also a multiplayer mode, which again is just centered on causing destruction. And so there's a co-op mode, there's a competitive multiplayer mode. This game has a lot of interesting things going on with it. The funny thing about this game, it's an Xbox exclusive, I believe.
I thought it was also for PC.
Oh, well, Microsoft exclusive, I should say.
Okay.
But if you have Xbox Game Pass, you get the game for free the day it comes out. So I think that's kind of interesting. I do have Game Pass, and so I'll be getting this game for free when it comes out. So just for all you Game Pass owners, you know, I'm not here to promote. We're not sponsored or anything, but Game Pass is a cool little thing. You know, it's like, I think, $10-15 a month, but you get like 100 free games, and you get a game like this that comes out the day it comes out, which I think is awesome. So if you have that subscription, you get this game for free the day it comes out. Otherwise, it's the full 60. But, you know, it'll be a fun, open sandbox filled with destruction. And I think we all like that.
Mm-hmm. And you can do it all as Terry Crews.
I forgot to mention that. I knew if I forgot, Travis was going to do it. So that's why I was like, I don't need to mention it.
Oh, I got you, because the one trailer that I looked up, because I was not familiar with like any of these games on the list, and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like Terry Crews. And then the next trailer was literally Terry Crews promoting it, and then his character jumps out of the screen and yells at him, and I'm like, this is amazing.
It's so funny. Oh, he's perfect for this kind of game. Yeah, that's what I was going to say is, like, that actor that they have there, like, perfectly fits the destruction that this game is going for. So I think that's funny.
Yes. So if I do pick this game up, I'm totally being Terry, even if his gameplay style, because all the characters also have, like, different, like, specialties. They can all do all the same things, but, like, they get to upgrade faster or something. So
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure his was explosions, so I'll probably...
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, so I think that will do just fine.
Yeah, we'll work with that.
Exactly. Okay, is that all we have to say about that one?
Yes, sir.
Going on to the last game. So this was a game that I actually recognized what the title was, and that was Far Cry New Dawn, right?
Yeah.
Right? So... Mike informed me that it is, in fact, a new game, but it's based off of Far Cry 5, like 17 years later after the thing that happened. No spoilers here. But, you know, it seems to me like it's a normal Far Cry game. The mission that I watched was that they tried to go and get a new dog because that's important. I'm pretty sure he does help you, like, in fights, and, like, he'll bite people and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. It's Far Cry. You'll probably struggle a little in the beginning, and then by the end, you will literally just raid camps because you have everything at your at your discretion. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. So I wish Matt was here with us because
Matt.
Oh my God, the amount of times he's woken me up while sleeping. Playing that game.
It's funny too because the backstory from what I've heard is like it's not really it's just a theory people have that this is supposed to be kind of a holdover for their next big release, whatever that might be, whether it's the next Far Cry or whatever. This game's only $40. The setting is the same, but it's post-apocalyptic, you know, like Travis said. So, you know, they're kind of reusing a lot of the same materials. That villain is different. It's not the same as the last game, and so, you know, it's not just a reskin of the last one, but it's kind of like what Blood Dragon was, where it's just a tinier version of a game kind of based around a similar environment, you know, but just that looks completely different. And then, you know, adding a lot of different elements to it. So I think it's just going to be a smaller version of a Far Cry game that reuses a lot of the old materials. So I'm sure people are going to say, doesn't feel like a full game. Keep in mind, it's $40, so it's not a full price game, though it's almost. And then, but keep in mind, it's supposed to be a holdover, you know? Kind of like what Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu was, you know? It's a new game, but it's supposed to be just something there while we wait for the next big release, right? That's kind of what Far Cry New Dawn is going for, too. So, you know, if you buy it, take it with a grain of salt. It's cheaper because they're not putting 100% effort into it, right? I'm sure it's one of those B team situations. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm going to be picking it up because it looks fun, and I liked Far Cry 5. But my expectations are not the next classic AAA game, right? That's not what this game's meant to be. It wasn't promoted like that, and it's not supposed to be Far Cry 6, right? I think that needs to be said here. But it'll be fun, I'm sure.
Yep. Don't have much to talk about when it comes down to Far Cry, honestly. It looks like a Far Cry game.
It's just a normal shooter with the normal Far Cry themes. It'll be
You're
good.
telling me you don't have a lot to say about an FPS game, Nick? Wow.
I know, that's a shocker, isn't
Surprise. No, so then are we pretty much good for the month?
Yeah.
it? I'm good.
Yeah, so I will say, this is kind of off topic, but there is a new volleyball video game coming out that I saw on Xbox, and I saw it yesterday right after Nick said, let's do anticipated releases tomorrow. And I wanted to say that because I've never seen a volleyball game before, and it's like a $40 volleyball game. So,
This is like professional volleyball?
I think so, because they said you can get
what's it called?
It's like
Spike
FIFA, but
Spike
volleyball? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think it's called Spike Volleyball. The graphics were awful, by the way.
Probably.
It should be like $15. I don't know what's going on with that, but I wanted to mention it because I've never seen a volleyball game before. So
yeah, I think the only time I've ever
seen.
seen a volleyball thing in a game is if it was just one side party, like a side thing, like in Mario Odyssey or
Right. Yeah. So
Mario
I'm sure
Odyssey,
it's gonna
yeah.
be awful, but you know,
So we're
I
all
don't know.
gonna get it, is what you're saying.
Yes, and we're all gonna play it. So
Yeah.
again, Piranha Plant on Smash Bros. And Spike Volleyball. That's what our channel is now. All right, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, so thanks everyone for joining us. Let us know if you're going to be picking up any of the games we talked about. If there's any games we didn't talk about, you know, we didn't really mention any indie games this month, and so, but there's always plenty of those that kind of sneak under our noses, and so if there's anything like that or any, you know, bigger games that we didn't talk about, let us know. We like finding new games, so share with us. With that being said, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.